Today is Saturday, the 25th of June 2022, and we are all gathered here for the 38th session on mindfulness for beginners. And we have Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero joining us from Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery. I would like to first welcome with much respect Bhante's presence to this program. On behalf of all the organizers and all the attendees who are attending through Zoom and all those who are going to be watching this through Facebook live stream from Satipasala Foundation. So to commence things, I would like to invite Bhante to advise us on the path to in-session mindfulness as per our schedule. Over to Bhante, much merits.
Dear friends, today we are connected here with another mindfulness program. So as our usual schedule, we will start the program with about 10 minutes of practice. So today I thought we can do a sitting session. Mindful sitting, we are going to practice for 10 to 15 minutes. For this, you have to adjust your seat and make sure that you are comfortable. Adjust your seat, make sure that you are comfortable. You have balanced seat, balanced posture. Once you have that comfort, you can close your eyes and be aware about the present moment. Be aware that you are sitting. It is okay to take few minutes, few seconds to adjust your seat. Make sure that you are comfortable. Then once you have that comfort, you can close your eyes and be aware. Pay attention that you are sitting. Take few seconds to notice what is happening. Notice what comes to your attention. Maybe you hear the sounds from the surrounding. Time to time, you feel your body as well. Maybe you can notice that your body is breathing. Breath goes in, comes out. Again, it goes in, comes out after a while. No need to force your breath. Instead, you can just notice the natural breathing. In addition, maybe you notice the movement of your stomach according to the breath. When you pay attention, you can notice the sounds. You can notice your body. In addition, time to time, thoughts may appear. You will get various ideas, plans in your head. When that happens, just notice that you are thinking. Notice that you are planning. And try to bring your attention back to the seated body. Try to be aware that you are sitting here in this moment. Sometimes you may feel sleepy. Sometimes pain and aches may appear in your body. When they appear, just be aware of them. That you feel sleepy, that you feel pain inside your body. This very awareness is what we are practicing. We are aware that our body is here. We are aware that we are breathing. We are aware that sounds appearing time to time. And we are aware about thoughts, emotions that come and go. Among all these things, you are seated here in this present moment. So as a group, we will try to practice this awareness for a few more minutes. Okay, everybody, now you can open your eyes again. So that's just about 10 minutes of mindful sitting. This is to give an idea about the practice. So you can try this on your own. Every day, try to sit for a few minutes and try to be aware like this. Then try walking for a few minutes and try to be aware that you are walking and that you are sitting. So this is the practice we are recommending. This is the practice you have to do. When you do that, you can come back with your experience and then we can discuss. Based on that experience, we have to give you guidance how to practice further. So with that, I think Namanta, you can take over.
Thank you so much, Bhante, and much thanks to you for coordinating that session. And I also felt very relaxed, and the focus going into a very narrow area or limiting into narrow area is very helpful to relax. So much thanks to you, Bhante. Next, we have two reports received, two written reports received for today's session. I would like to invite Lushani to conduct the Q&A session, starting with the written reports. And if anyone has verbal statements or questions to raise during the Q&A session, towards the end of the Q&A session, we would appreciate such endeavors. Over to you, Lushani. Thank you.
Thank you, Namanta. Avasarai Bhante. I will read the first report for today. Report 1, Walking Meditation. Walked part on wooden floor and part on a rug. After noting left and right feet being placed, mind went to lifting, moving, lowering, placing, pressing onto the floor, heel, midfoot, toes. Changes in temperature felt with cooler areas and warmer areas becoming prominent at different time in each foot. The harder floor compared to foot when on the wooden floor, and the difference where the rug was soft and foot felt hard in comparison. Recognize the hardness and softness were in comparison to each other, and it was a continuum. Warmth of body at times noted to pass away, as did sounds and thoughts. Some thoughts watched as they proliferated, but tried identifying their roots as agreed, hatred or ignorance, and the mind soon went back to feed. Walked 1 hour. Sitting meditation. Decided to watch thoughts as primary object. Noted the thoughts of greed arise and pass. Those of generosity, ignorance, memories of previous conversation. Noted observing mind wondering what category the memory fell into. Was it a thought of delusion? Decided it was just that, and it too would pass like the rest. Noted the inner commentary about all thoughts being associated with delusion. There were thoughts of aversion in the form of discomfort when noting warmth of body and sweaty sensation, mind commenting on it as Vedana and Tejo. The observing mind noted some inner chatter come and go, meditated for 45 minutes. Much gratitude to Bhante for guidance and to all organizers. End of the report.
Okay, so this is based on practice. Now, if anybody is new here, now when you hear that report, you can see that this person has practiced mindful walking and sitting, and based on that experience, they are reporting. So that's how you can progress in your practice, because our experience changes. It differs person to person. So you have to practice, you have to take the initiative and then see what is happening. It varies depending on the person. So that's how we can progress in this practice of mindfulness. So you can see this person noticing a lot of valuable details while sitting and walking. And the body, you can notice how the body is working, how the body is breathing. Those things are there. In addition, thoughts, various ideas, planning, Those things come and go. So this is happening again and again. So when it comes to these details, they are not much value. They don't have much value, just menial details that we are noticing. But it is good observation, because when we notice these details, we are mindful. That's the assurance we get when we have these details in our report. When we notice them, that assures us that we are mindful, we are aware. And when you observe, you can feel that various things come and go. They try to give us some idea. They come with some opinion, judgment, something like that. But after a while, they vanish. So you just have to be patient and observe what is happening. Thoughts come, they vanish after a while. Emotions come, they vanish after a while. Various planning, future planning will come, they vanish after a while. Again and again, you can notice that you are walking, that your body is walking. Again and again, you can notice that your body is breathing. So this process, you have to allow it to happen naturally. You are not going to control it that much. Instead, you simply become the observer. Let the natural thing happen, and you can simply become the observer. That is the way of practice. Time to time, you get this idea of controlling. You get this idea of, changing this pattern. But when you practice again and again with more training, you realize that I don't have to get in between these things. Instead, I can just be the observer. If I interfere, then it becomes a bigger trouble. It becomes a bigger mess. But if I can be the observer without interfering, that's the way. Time to time, you go after various thoughts, emotions. You want to keep them. You want to hold on to them, especially the pleasant ones. You want to hold on to them. Time to time, unpleasant ones come and you want to get rid of them. But you see this process. You see that these thoughts, I go after them. I want to keep them. These emotions, I want to get rid of them. When you notice how this is happening again and again, it helps you to be the observer more and more. So this is the way of practice. It's like observing the cars in a road. You don't go middle. Instead, you stay on a side and just be the observer. Various things come and go. You just be the observer. You just stand in the sidewalk and you observe various cars going. That observation you are doing. So that is the way of practice. You have to train it again and again. Again and again, you want to jump in the middle of the cars, in the middle of the road, and try to stop them, probably chase after few. That's how you do. But when you practice again and again, you learn the art of observing without getting carried away. So you can see how this person is trying that, how this person is becoming more and more skillful in that practice. And when you have that comfort in your practice, you can try this during your day-to-day life as well, because it's the same process that is happening. Of course, the sitting posture may change, walking posture may change, but even when you are in a different posture, same thing is happening again and again. While brushing your teeth, you can be the observer. While eating your meals, you can be the observer. While taking a bath, you can be the observer. While talking to somebody, you can be the observer. That way, we try to practice mindfulness even during our day-to-day life. Little by little, you have to train. You can't do within 1 or 2 days. Instead, you try again and again. With practice, you go. And with time, you realize mindfulness comes naturally to me due to the practice. So that's the idea. So good report, continue practicing and continue to share your experience.
Thank you, Bante. I will read the second report now. Mindful walking, 45 minutes. Walked in the nearby country park. Mind was busy at the beginning and fairly soon noted that the mindfulness coming to feed spontaneously. However, the usual feeling of contact points such as the heel, midfoot and toes were not distinguished well, as walked with shoes on. Noted the warm sunshine on the skin. Pace was quicker, but was able to notice the weight shifting from one side to side. Heard the sound of dogs barking, birds chirping, and also the sound of others in the park speaking along the way. Attention had returned to walking. Felt the sensation of little toe on left foot rubbing against the inside of the shoe. This sensation developed into a pain. During all of these happenings, the action of walking had continued uninterrupted. Felt the pain a bit more intensely in the toe and noticed the resistance in the mind which wanted to stop walking. This mental resistance continued for a while and yet noted that the walking had also continued. Mindful sitting, 45 minutes. Sat on the cushion and did a quick body scan and adjusted the posture. Noted that the mind was more receptive to sitting session, perhaps because it was early in the morning before starting any activity. A calmer feeling similar to gladness arose in the mind. Attention moved to the rhythm of the breathing, both via sensation of rise and fall of stomach, as well as the sensation of cooler and warmer air around the nostrils. This continued for a while, and then thoughts appeared. At times, it felt like a bunch of thoughts arising all at the same time in the mind, and at other times, there were less thoughts, a bit like thoughts having slowed down. Although the different feelings that arose with connected these thoughts were noted, such as guilt, embarrassment, curiosity, patience, etc., the number of mental reactions were becoming less. Attention had returned to breathing again, but noting it with rise and fall of stomach only. After a while, the dullness and the sleepiness arose. However, there was no tiredness in the mind. Maybe the body was tired, but not sure if this was the case. Observe the changing nature of thoughts, feelings, and sensations. These just came up and disappear after a while. Then mind moves to another object, and that also is replaced by something else after a while. Mindfulness during the day. There were 3 occasions during which the mind would usually have felt overwhelmed and reacted in an unhealthy way. For example, it's not fair, they don't listen, I'm trying to help, it's their fault, etc. But was surprised that during all 3 situations, the initial agitation was noticed quicker and the mind chose to just observe the thought process, a bit similar to how observing is becoming familiar in formal mindfulness sessions. Surprise and relief crossed the mind. Surprise was felt again as the reacting seemed to have paused while the observing had continued. It felt like the mind was partly expecting the usual reaction to take place any moment, although the observing had become a bit stronger and taken the upper hand. Would need to continue the mindfulness practice to see the mechanisms of the mind more fully. Venerable Bhante, I appreciate any feedback you have on this experience. Theruvan Saranai.
Okay, thank you for sharing that report. As you can see, how the formal practice is strengthening your day-to-day mindfulness. You start your day with a sitting session. That's a very good way to start your day because you are clearing your mind. After a good night's sleep, you try to clear your mind, clear your thoughts. Probably like 40 minutes, 1 hour sitting session. It's a very good start. Feels like that is time wasted, but it's not. You can try it and see. And when you support your practice with formal practice, you can see that even your day-to-day life, you are naturally more and more mindful. Now you are noticing how these things are, how these unhealthy reactions go. They are natural. Don't try to get rid of them. Instead, be the observer. Notice how automatically these things are coming, how these unhealthy reactions are coming, and how we want to go with that force. But with practice, you can see that mindfulness takes the upper hand. It becomes the stronger force, even stronger than these thoughts, emotions, judgments. That comes with the practice, not within a day or two, not within a week or two, but you have to practice again and again. Support your mindfulness. So this quality of your mind, the quality of to be the observer, that quality is difficult to develop. It's like a shy person. They won't come and take the place. You have to invite this quality again and again. This quality of mindfulness, you are inviting, supporting again and again, encouraging them to take control, encouraging mindfulness to take control. Again and again, you are inviting. But once this quality is established, it is the most powerful quality in your mind. Even the emotions, they can't overpower this quality. Even while you are angry, you can be aware that you're angry. So that's why we say this is a superpower. If you know that you are thinking while thinking, that's a superpower. If you know that you are angry while you have that anger, that's a superpower. Because otherwise, these are unhealthy reactions. Unhealthy reactions are natural. You don't have to do anything. It will happen naturally, automatically. So if you want to stop that reaction, if you want to take control, then you have to have a stronger force, which is the mindfulness, which is a superpower. With that mindfulness, you can see few more options open up. That usual reaction is there. That's anyway the given option. That is our usual option. But with mindfulness, you have more options. You can react to something positively or negatively, or you can stay neutral. So those three options are there. But usually the unhealthy reaction is the one we get. Only one option we get usually. So if somebody comes and blame you, then you want to react. That's the unhealthy reaction that you have. You want to chase after them. You want to blame them. You want to get revenge. So that is usual. You don't have to program it. It comes automatically. But with mindfulness, you have few more options. You can stay neutral, or you can appreciate that person for blaming you. Thank you for your effort. Now I can observe my mind because of your hard efforts. So these are different options that we get based on the strength of our mind. If you don't have that strength, then usual option is the blaming one. So in your report, we can see that new options are opening up. Now you can see something else, some other reaction you can do. So that's the way of mindfulness. Otherwise, you can't survive in this world. So continue your practice. When you continue, you can see this power of mindfulness is becoming stronger and stronger. And when it becomes stronger and stronger, that is the most powerful thing in your mind. Nothing else can overpower it. You just have to continue your practice. With practice, you can see how this is becoming even more powerful. So continue and continue to share with the group.
Thank you, Bhante, for that valuable advice and guidance. Now we have the Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, please raise your Zoom hand and then you can ask the question. So this is a great opportunity to ask any questions you have. Bhante, it appears that there aren't any questions today. Seems like no one has questions. Shall we give another 30 seconds? I can see Panchani has raised her hand. So Panchani, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello, Lishani and Bhante, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Avasarai Bhante, last time when I read my report and asked a few questions, you mentioned, do you have samadhi? Now develop your wisdom. Now, as part of this, as well as doing the walking and the sitting meditation, I have started to contemplate on my body, taking different body parts and contemplating on them. Would you advise this to be a part that I should take? Because when I do that and then go into sitting meditation, I can see the radiance of my chitta increasing. I just wanted to find out whether this is something that I should be doing alongside the walking and the sitting meditation. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, so when we walk, when we sit, naturally these things grow, right? Certain people, they have stronger samadhi. Certain people, they have strong wisdom side. So based on that experience, we have to advise them. So they go hand in hand. You can't take one without the other. Both of them are there, but you have to make sure that you are treating them equally. That's the idea, right? So if you get stuck in samadhi only, if you have attachment towards that strong samadhi, then your wisdom won't grow. That's a problem. You know, most practitioners, they get stuck here because they are attached to the samadhi. So same attachment that keeps you in this world, right? So even that you have to get rid of. If you are open to your practice will do that for you. You don't have to do that. You just have to be, and naturally that samadhi will disappear after a while. You have to allow it to happen. That's the only thing you have to do, right? So when you walk comfortably and see how it works. You don't have to force it too much. It will naturally come. Even sitting, you don't have to force it too much. It will naturally come. Thoughts will appear naturally. Emotions will appear naturally. In between, you can notice your breath. In between, you can notice your steps. So this is a natural process. You don't have to do much. Instead, you just spend your few minutes of mindful walking, few minutes of mindful sitting, and just let that natural process happen. That natural process is the one we try to plug into. Otherwise, we are always controlling. We are trying something, we are doing. That is just the initial part of the practice. When you develop in practice, it's more about non-doing instead of doing. We say the flow state, it is naturally happening. You just become the observer. So that way you have to progress in your practice. Try and see what is coming. Be open-minded and, walk for some time, sit for some time, continue that. And when you continue that, you can see, okay, this is my experience. These things are coming, these emotions are coming. So you can be aware. That very awareness will allow you to grow your wisdom. If you just stuck in some place, then that's not the way of wisdom. You have to, allow this natural process to happen. This natural process always, happening according to each and every person. So that's a different experience that you have when you practice. Various emotions may come. Sometimes for some people, lust is a problem. For some people, anger is a problem. For some people, other thoughts are problems. For some people, past incidents are problems. So that's how it goes. So you have to keep an open mind. Do this walking again and again. Do this sitting again and again. Don't try to do much. Means that just be there. Try to notice what is happening. That's enough.
Thank you, Bhante, and thank you, Panchani. I can see Samantha has raised her hand. Samantha, over to you. Samantha, you can unmute yourself. Namantha, is there any way of unmuting Samantha? Excellent. Over to you, Samantha.
Thanks, Lashani. Sorry, I couldn't unmute the button. It didn't come up. Thank you, Bhante, for taking my question. I just want to get some clarification about what Bhante just said regarding you can get stuck in samadhi. What exactly does that mean? Because I thought samadhi was part of the practice, the right samadhi, to gain by using the breath to develop a right samadhi and the right mindfulness. I thought they go hand in hand, and through the samadhi and one is also mindful of what's happening, and then the wisdom will arise through that. So I'm just wondering where one can get stuck, or how one can get just stuck in samadhi and not progress any further. Bhante, that was my question. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, let me approach it like this. Now we are practicing. We want to get rid of this desire or the attachment, right? So that's the basic idea. Due to this attachment or desire, we have this resistance in this world. No, the things that come our way, we don't accept it, right? Something happens. Yes. If you accept, then there's no problem. But that is not happening. Our mind is resisting this. You want to get something else instead. This is the idea that's in our mind. Right? Due to this idea, we create friction in this world. Let's say you have something precious. You want to keep it forever. But suddenly something happens, then it breaks. So what will happen? Your mind will start, worrying about that incident again and again, maybe for weeks, maybe for months, maybe for years, even you are worrying. So this is because you are not ready to accept what has happened. And due to that, it is creating resistance in your mind. So this is due to the desire that you desired that thing that you had, and you don't like to let it go, right? So when we practice the simple practice of mindfulness, it will allow you to get rid of this desire. But you have to get proper advice. You have to practice again and again. So non-practitioners, they don't have this problem. If you don't practice, then they don't have the problem of samadhi, right? But when we start practicing, when we feel these blissful states of mind, then we get attached to that, right? You want to keep it forever. Even a few weeks back, probably a child was saying that, I had a lot of problems in my mind, but somehow I got this idea of mindfulness and I practiced for a few days and I felt this blissful nature in my mind. I have never felt such a state in my mind before. And now I want to stay there forever. So what happens? That very practice is becoming a hindrance, because now you want to get that samadhi every day. So that's what happens to most people. So they get stuck there. But if you are open, you can see only the initial phase, you get that blissful nature. Then after a while, it goes away. Because when the happiness is there, unhappiness is also there. That's two sides of a coin. When the happiness is there, even from practice, unhappiness is also there. The other side of the coin. So that initial part, you get this blissful nature. That's a good thing. That's encouragement towards your practice. But with time, you have to even let go of that state as well. Then what is the real peace that we are talking about? Real peace is the distance that we create in this mind. The distance both from happiness as well as from unhappiness. That is the real peace that we are talking about. That you can feel when you practice, when you progress, you can see that my mind is there. If I want, I can observe the breath is there. If I want, I can observe the thoughts are there. But my mind doesn't bother. It just stays in a comfortable, peaceful state. Even some is in the middle of some incident, some person is blaming you. You are blissful. You don't take it personally. Instead, you just, hear the sounds. It comes from this side, goes from other side. Even long emails you get, after reading halfway, you just, get fed up. Probably not with the work ones. I'm not suggesting to do that with the work emails, right? So that's how it goes. Yeah. Nothing can influence you very much. Your mind is not moved by these things so much. That is the real peace that we are talking about. Otherwise, you are just attached to that blissful nature. And some people I have seen, they have practiced this for probably years. And due to that practice, they have these skin rashes, because they want to go to that samadhi, they can't, and they struggle, they practice. It's like going to work 8 to 5. These hours, I want to stay in this samadhi, I want to practice. And with time, they start to struggle. They struggle, even they get these skin rashes. So this very practice is expecting nothing. If you expect something, then that same attachment is there. So calmly observe, whatever comes your way, accept. If the thoughts are there, your mind is all around the place, all over the place, you just be with that. Your body is aching, you just be with that. That's the way of wisdom. Otherwise, when you are sleepy, you can't meditate. When your mind is all over the place, you can't meditate. When the body is aching, you can't meditate. Because as meditation, you think something else. But just being with this, accepting this is the way of meditation. That takes courage, that takes effort. To stay with this, aching body, painful body, you need effort. When your mind is all over the place, you need effort to stay with that. You need courage to stay with that. So that's the way of wisdom. Otherwise, you are getting stuck. Initial phase, not even, middle. Initial phase, you get stuck. Even Anapanasati Sutta, if you go through it, very first line, Buddha says, observe the breath. What is the next line? Observe the length of it, where it goes. That is towards letting breath go. Because when you observe the length, the result is that breath is vanishing. So even the second line of the Anapanasati Sutta is showing that you have to let go of this breath even. We think we have to hold on to breath all the time. That's not true. You just start with it And starting from the next line, it is suggesting that you should let go of this breath. So that's the idea of the practice. So practice and see, practice and add your experience. And when we have that, we can see how we can progress.
Thank you, Bhante. I was just thinking, like, so if your primary object is the breath, and when you're sitting down in your meditation, you obviously, like when you get thoughts and other things that interrupt initially from time to time as well, pain, thoughts, feelings. So once you are aware, mindful of that, then you let it go, and then you go back to the primary object. So you keep doing that. And then I would have thought that, so once you, when you say when Bhante said you get attached to the happiness, even that, if you're going through, so through the samadhi, I presume you get a state of happiness at some stage. Even that would, if you're mindful of that stage, then that would subside, and even the happiness will eventually go, and then you just see where the mind will lead to. So would that, then are you not sort of letting go and not getting stuck in the samadhi, and then you're going along with the mindfulness of experiencing whatever the feeling, and then going through to the mind that way?
So whatever comes, they will pass, right? You just have to allow that natural process. That's all I'm suggesting. So time to time, samadhi will be there. That's fine. When it is there, we are glad. But when it is not there, if you are chasing after it, then that's the problem, right? So time to time, it varies. That's the way of practice. Time to time, it goes towards the samadhi. Time to time, it goes towards the wisdom. So you have to, accept that. So whatever comes, it will pass. These two shall pass. That's the way you should look at them, right? You can enjoy while it is there. You can be with it wholeheartedly, but after a while, it will vanish. When it vanishes, you have to accept what comes next. So try and see. Sometimes only the thoughts are there. You can't even focus on your breath. So that is your practice when it comes. Sometimes our whole body is aching. So that is your practice when it's there. Sometimes you are sick. So that is your practice when sickness is there. That's how we are going to practice. Otherwise, you have to have, proper time. Once in a while, only once in a blue moon, you will get such times. No, whatever is there, you just be with it. That's your practice. We encourage you to live, really to live. So when you fall asleep, you can't avoid practicing. That's the time to practice. When your body is aching, when it is, in pain, when you can't stand up, be aware and see what is happening. So that's how we are going to develop.
Lovely. And then, so once you're aware, when you're mindful of that, whatever thing, so that it doesn't proliferate, then you go back to the primary object. Would that be the case, Bhante?
Yeah, if you're not sure, you can go back to the primary object. If you're not confident.
Lovely. Okay, thank you, Bhante. I'll give it a go. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Are there any other questions for Bhante? If you have, please raise your hand. It appears that there aren't any. So thank you, Bhante, for your valuable advice and guidance. Much merit to you. With that, I will end the Q&A session for today and hand it over back to Namante. Over to you, Namante.
Thank you very much, Lushani. And I believe we had a very good Q&A session conducted, and much merits to Bhante and also you, and also the persons who wrote 2 reports and for the 2 verbal statements. Thank you for adding value to our beloved program. So next, I would like to go through the quick introduction to the beginners starting up. And this may also be a refresher to experienced practitioners of mindfulness. I would share the screen. Okay, you can see there are 5 points listed on the screen on this slide. The first one is for a beginner to go through 2 videos. The first one would be mindful walking. Then there will be mindful sitting session. So the purpose of this training is uh, for you to start with mindful walking, and then to progress with mindful sitting session just after the mindful walking session completes. That's because you get some momentum built up with the walking, which you then transition onto the sitting session, which we find as useful, and which is the method that is advised from Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery. So it is a time-tested and working model for mindfulness. The 2 videos are there. They are currently in the Zoom chat section. The links are there. I have posted them there. Then you can allocate some time, hopefully 20 minutes to 1 hour. But if you can't do that, even 5 minutes of walking, 5 minutes of mindful sitting is better than nothing. So you can practice like that for several days. We recommend 3-4 days, and then you can go on to start writing reports. You can write a report on mindful walking, describing what you experienced, what was the most prominent object of attention that you found in your walking. It could be the sole, the legs in contact with the floor. It could be your own body movement. It could be breathing even. It could be anything. What needs to be done is to find that there's something that is becoming prominent. Then you will make a very subtle effort to maintain attention on that, and then observe the distractions of the mind, the thoughts, or other sounds surrounding noise and all that coming into play, and how you deal with them, whether you deal with them automatically, or whether you deal with them with intention during these few minutes, is what could be written into the report. Secondly, you move on to the mindful sitting session. There you can again write about what your focus object was, whether it is breath or bodily vibrations or movements, and then you can write about any distractions surrounding sounds or noise, then thoughts or thought processes. If you feel emptiness, you can write about that. So in your own words, you can write about these things. What I said was just examples. You can write what you experience in your own words, just a summary, and then you can send these reports from the Google form in the link here, or to the email beginnersnv@gmail.com. And also if you miss a session here and there, these are available on the link posted in the chat section. And uh, there is a cycle of feedback which happens when you start writing reports, or when you start raising verbal questions during the Q&A session, which is quite important. So this will help you to understand insights being provided by Bhante, and then you can follow on those advice and insights, and then improve your mindfulness remarkably. So this is what we try to achieve through the program, to train you to build up mental strength and stamina in your daily activities. So in addition to mindful walking and mindful sitting, you can also include some information similarly on mindfulness during daily activities. So with that, that's a refresher for experienced practitioners, and a introduction to beginners. So I would stop sharing the screen, and next item on our agenda would be the talk by Bhante, and if time permits, we will allow you questions on the talk as well. So I would like to hand over the session to Bhante, inviting Bhante on behalf of all of us to conduct the talk on mindfulness scheduled for today. Over to Bhante. Much merit.
Thank you, Namanta. So we have about 10 to 15 minutes. I think we can little bit discuss about the practice. So today I thought of talking a little bit about anger. So that's something we face in our day-to-day life. So every day probably are facing this difficulty. When you go to work, when you drive, when you go to marketplace, you have this problem. Now, some people, they think that anger, you have to empower it. You want to feed it. And you feed that anger and you get into more and more trouble. That's one way towards this anger that arises in your mind. So when it comes to the worldly people, they usually follow this path. They feed the anger. They support that anger. And they get into trouble, more and more trouble due to this anger that appears in their mind. All right. So that is one side that we usually see in this world. We can find a lot of people who feed their anger and get into more and more trouble. Even when you travel in a road, you can see sometimes people fighting on the side of the road. They are fighting because of some small matter, right? And even when you go to marketplace or when you go to your workplace, you can see such troubles. So that's the way of the world. And when it comes to this practice, then the other end comes. What is the other end? Then you want to get rid of the anger in your mind. So that is more common among the practitioners. They think that anger is a bad thing. They think that anger they want to get rid of. If they get angry, they suffer not because of the anger. Now they suffer because I got angry. I practice meditation. I practice mindfulness. I have these precepts. And still I get angry. So that's more like the other end, where you want to get rid of this anger. But the real practice is in the middle. Now, when we get angry, that is an opportunity for you to discover a little bit more about yourself. Every time when you feel this resistance in your mind, that is an opportunity for you to practice. So that's why maybe we call this the middle path. We don't feed the anger in our mind. We don't try to get rid of it. Instead, we use this force as fuel for our practice. So that's the idea of true practice. That's the middle path that we are talking about. So every time when you get angry, it's an opportunity for you to investigate a little bit. Investigate the root cause for this anger. Investigate what made you angry in this situation. Maybe something didn't go your way and you got angry. Maybe some incident happened and due to that you got angry. Maybe somebody came and said something. Then due to that you got angry. So these are opportunities for us to discover ourselves. That's why I say when you get angry, don't try to get rid of it. Instead, try to investigate, why did I get angry in this occasion? What was the reasoning for it? Maybe if you investigate like that, it's an opportunity for you to find a little bit more about yourself. just a little bit more every time. When you feel that, you investigate. You try to be mindful and see the causes for this. Every time you feel resistance in your mind, that's an opportunity for you to grow your practice. You can really feel that this resistance is there due to some attachment. Maybe due to your ego. Maybe due to some attachment towards something else. So always these things, these occasions create opportunity for us to practice. So this person view this anger as an opportunity for the practice, as fuel for the practice. Otherwise, if you just try to get rid of these things, then it's like boiling the ocean. It's a never-ending process because you can't get rid of these things. If you think that you can create a mind without anger, then that's boiling the ocean. If you think that you can create a mind without thoughts, that's boiling the ocean. Instead, we use these things for our practice. When you get angry, you can investigate what is happening. Or even today, we heard those reports. They were mentioning this is unhealthy. This is the usual reaction, I guess. But now I can control it. My observation power, my awareness is stronger. And due to that stronger awareness, I can observe. So that's the way of practice. Now, when you have that strength, when you have that awareness, you can observe what is the real reason behind this. Maybe not the very first time. Maybe when it happens again and again, one day you realize, oh, this is the reason. This is why I get angry due to these things. This is why I get angry every time when I see this person. This is why I get angry every time when I hear these words. And you accept this anger as a part of your mind. You can't get rid of it. Instead, you stop feeding it. Now, even today, that report that mentioned that this unhealthy reaction is there, but I am not feeding that. I have a choice now. I have a choice to do something else. This is totally rewiring your brain because that natural reaction is already wired. That is the usual circuit that we have in our brain. But when you do something else, that's totally rewiring your brain. That way you can develop this practice. You are not allowing these unhealthy reactions. And you are doing something else instead. When you practice like this, naturally, those unhealthy parts, those unhealthy circuits, they get weaker and weaker, while these healthy ones are becoming stronger and stronger. So that's how this type of a practice can really help you. That is why I am saying, whenever you are alive, as long as you are alive, you can practice. Not during only sitting, not during only walking, but as long as you are alive, you can practice. As long as you are awake, you can practice. When you get up in the early morning, you can start your practice. When you go to work, go like you are going to meditate. When you go for your meal, think that you are meditating. When you brush your teeth, think that you are brushing, meditating. When you get angry, that's another opportunity for you to meditate. So that's how we have to approach this. Otherwise, you do like 2 hours of sitting and walking. then you forget it. The rest of the day, you feed your unhealthy reactions. That's not how you should approach it. Instead, you have to continue this practice. As long as you are awake, you can continue this. And you have so much time. It's not like a job within 1 or 2 days. You can continue this for months, even for years. And when you continue, you can really see that you are growing. That's the way to make progress. Every day we are making mistakes, but still we are learning from them. Again and again we are approaching this practice. Again and again we are developing our mindfulness. So when such occasions come, when there's this resistance in your mind, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for you to really observe yourself. Discover a little bit more about yourself. Why did I get angry in this occasion? Maybe I am attached to this person. That's why I get angry. Maybe I am attached to this thing. That's why I get angry. Maybe because of my ego, I get angry. So these things are opportunities. So that's why I'm saying you just have to let them be. Let the anger be there. Let the thoughts be there. That's the fuel for your practice. Otherwise, as soon as you start meditation, you want to get rid of all the thoughts. The mind should be clear, like a still forest pool. No thoughts should be there. No emotion should be there. That's how you are thinking. But if you want to grow in your practice, you have to allow these things to be and use them as fuel for your practice. So when we get a lot of thoughts, we take it as an opportunity to practice. When we get angry, we take it as an opportunity to practice. When we get lust in our mind, we take it as an opportunity to practice. So that's the way. Let them be. Don't try to get rid of them suddenly. Till yesterday you were fine. Today you want to get, as soon as you hear about the practice, you want to get rid of all these things. No bad qualities in my mind. I am like Buddha now. Only good things are there. That's not the way. Let them be. They have been there for a long time. They should also have a roof over their head. So let them be. Don't feed them. Stop feeding them. Instead, see their nature. Observe their nature. Identify what is the reasoning behind these things. And without them, you can't really attain real peace. Otherwise, temporarily, you get rid of them. But as soon as you open your eyes, they'll be back. They'll be back knocking on your door. So during the meditation time, you are fine. Rest of the day, you are burning with anger. That's because you don't like it. That's because you don't want it. And some people, when they meditate, they get furious. They go to the temple or the meditation hall, spend few hours and come home. When they come, even the family members, they know, oh, we have to be careful. This person coming after the meditation. Mother is coming home after meditation, after doing metta meditation, compassion meditation. Now she's coming. So you have to be careful, little bit careful. Don't make any noises. Don't, watch TV. Instead, keep quiet. Because she's coming furious because of the meditation. These things are real. These things are happening. So as long as they meditate, they are fine. As soon as they open their eyes, they are full of anger, full of lust. That's not a meditation that we are recommending. Instead, we use these things as a fuel. We use them to investigate a little bit more about ourselves. Every time you can investigate a little bit more. Every time you can question, what is the reason for this? Why am I angry? Now the usual unhealthy reactions are coming. Am I allowing them? Or am I moving towards healthy ones? And you can make mistakes. Of course, you can make mistakes, but take them as learning lessons. Make mistakes and make a determination that I'll be better tomorrow. You get opportunities. 1001 opportunities you will have if you want to develop. If you want to continue this practice, you will have many chances. And little by little, you grow. And now even becoming a monk, this is the way towards practice. You get a lot of chances. You get a lot of opportunities. It's a never-ending process. Whatever the mistake you make, the Sangha will take care of it. They will let you know how to fix it. You make mistakes. You go and make a compassion. And you correct yourself. You go and tell them, I have done this and done something. It's my fault. I did this. Please let me be pure. And they will tell you, okay, do this. Now you are okay. Now you can forget that and you can move forward. So time to time we make mistakes, that's fine. You're allowed to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. You learn and you grow your practice. You learn and use them to fuel your practice. That's how you have to take it. So don't try to get rid of this anger. Don't try to get rid of these defilements. Instead, observe them, let them be, let them come and go. Don't try to feed them. Instead, be, observe. Try to see what is the real reasoning behind these things. Why am I angry in these occasions? Why do I feel so much resistance in these occasions? That's why we call this self-discovery. You are discovering yourself. You are finding out more and more details about yourself. Everybody is unique. You have a total unique system. So you are the person that has to investigate. We can only show you the path. This is how you walk. This is how you start. The rest is up to you. Nobody can help you. You are the person who has to practice. You have to practice and discover yourself. It's not about the outside world. It's not about something else. It's not about the Buddha. Instead, this is more like becoming a Buddha on your own. Buddha is the awakened one, the one who knows. So when you practice more and more, you become awakened. You become a Buddha in your mind. And more things you are awakened to. That's why you say, now these unhealthy reactions are there, but now I can control them. Now I have different choices. That comes with this awareness. that comes with this Buddha nature in your mind. So as a group, we can help each other. We can continue our practice. Every day, I am also learning. You can't see that part, but I am also learning. That transaction, it goes from the back door. You can't see. You feel that, or you are only learning. That's not true. Even I am learning. You can see I usually make comments about other people's practice. So yesterday's program will be full for today's this thing. And today's program will be full for tomorrow's program. That's how it goes. So we learn as a group. We become kalyana mitra to each other. And that's how we can practice. Nobody else can do the practice for you, but you can get help. You can get advice. Even listening to somebody else's meditation report, it helps. It helps a lot. So we grow as a group. We develop in our practice little by little. Now, even when we start this program, maybe a few months back when we started, maybe there were some new people here who didn't know the practice. But now we start to hear beautiful meditation reports. So that's the growth that we are talking about. Today, there might be some new people, but you can also start. Starting from next week, you can present your own report. You can present your own experience, and that will be learning experience for others as well. So we grow as a group. We contribute from our practice, and with time, you can see that you have made so much progress. So whenever you feel friction in your mind, whenever you feel these bad qualities arise, don't try to get rid of them. Instead, investigate what is happening. Investigate what's the reason for this friction. Friction is a good sign. Friction in your mind is a good sign that there is an opportunity for you to practice. Because something is not working as per your wish. That's why the friction is there. So try to use them as a fuel. Try to use them and develop your practice. So let the thoughts be. They are identical to you. They are unique to you. So let them be. Don't try to get rid of them. Let the emotions be. They are unique to you. Nobody else can understand those emotions. Nobody else can understand those thought patterns. Actually, you are all alone in your mind. Other people will come and say, now I understand. But it's a false statement. Nobody will ever understand. You are all alone in your mind. So with mindfulness, you discover about yourself. You try to identify what is happening. You try to use these occasions as a way of practice, as a fuel for your practice. And when you practice like that, within few months, within few years, you can really see that you have made so much progress. So thank you for listening, and I invite all of you to continue your practice like this.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for that very valuable talk, and especially on the subject of anger, which is something that we all are experiencing, and a critical issue for all of us, including myself. I found this practice extremely useful to understand how I react to anger, find the root causes, and be more confident when I am in an angry state of mind due to external reasons, work emails or work incidents, anything else, or even reading political incidents, especially world over. So I believe everybody would have benefited immensely from today's talk. So if any of you have any questions on the talk itself, you can raise a Zoom hand and we can give you time to present your question to Bante. Okay, I believe there are no other questions for today on the talk. So I would uh, go towards wrapping up today's session. Firstly, I would like to thank Venerable Bante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for representing Nissarana Forest Monastery, dedicating Bante's own time and effort to this program, to today's session. And we hope all the merits go on for Bante to have the strength and courage to develop Bante's own practice, and may Bante's practice develop further and further as a result of these merits. And I would also like to mention with much honor Most Venerable Bante Uda Iriyagama Dhammajiva Mahathero for his insightful request to initiate and conduct this program. And we can all see how beneficial the program is becoming, and we can all see how much a contribution the monastery is making in this manner to all of us. And next, I would also like to thank all the organizers who worked tirelessly in the beginning to initiate the program and who are still working tirelessly with great attention on to maintain the program as it is, to provide the platform for all of us to develop our mindset this way. Um, then I would also like to thank all of you who are joining every week, and we hope you are all able to join every week and gain immense wisdom to further your practice this way. And the eventual hope of this program is to build sustainable mindfulness in all of you. So the teachings will hopefully help you to practice more as well as develop more. So thank you, everyone. Then I would like to raise the session to the stage where you can make any comments or even suggestions on the program itself. I'll give you a few seconds to raise a Zoom hand if you have any comments on the program. All right, I think there are no comments, or there's no one raising the hand. I would like to wish all of you a very happy and mindful week ahead. There are three announcements that I have put into the Zoom chat section. You can go to those and read them. So I would like to end today's session and invite you to participate in next Saturday's session, as well as um, keep on practicing mindfulness during mindful walking, mindful sitting, and also during daily activities. As you can see, the program does not limit itself to walking and sitting. It goes beyond. It goes to mindful daily activities too. So with all that, I would like to end session now. And again, thank you to Bante, and thank you to all the organizers and all the attendees, and hope to see you next week. Have a mindful and happy week ahead, and may you prosper. Thank you.